Real life street stars, y'all put your hands together.
Let's go!
Come on, man. Yeah, I'm back. It's very few times where we have someone on the couch and then, there's a story there that we like, now we have to bring this person back and get, the story in which there was a story that we just barely scratched the surface. So, Grace, welcome back.
Thank you.
You were in the Terrence Gangsta interview that, of course, is still out. Y'all go watch that right now. But, again, you started off to where you were speaking a little bit about your history. We're like, whoa, there's something there that we want to kind of get to know. So for those that do, of course, want to hear your story, can you go ahead and reintroduce yourself and tell them where you're from?
Okay, so I am Grace, known as the therapist to Terrence Gangsta Williams.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. I am originally from Cali. Moved from Cali to Ohio to Texas.
My bad. Shit. That's about to be a whole conversation about where you're from. All right, so
From South,
what part of California you speaking of?
South Central LA.
Oh, around what age did you grow up in? Is this the Boys in the Hood era?
I was born and raised there, so I moved
man.
there. I moved from there as a teenager.
All right, so let's go through there, man.
Yeah, I was born and raised there. I grew up in Five Deuce Hoover against the Crip area.
Okay.
So did you gangbang?
No, I didn't gangbang, but my family did.
Were you one of like the girls that they like you? This life ain't for you. Where they look
Kinda,
at you
sorta.
like
Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
want to pull you in.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
All right, so let's do it like this then, man. Tell us about your upbringing. What was your family dynamic as far as mother, father, sisters, brothers? Who stayed with you, just in case?
Okay, so I have older siblings and younger. I'm kind of like the middle. I am a daddy's girl, so I'm his only child, but I had other siblings. We all had different fathers. It was good. My father was a businessman, so I grew up having everything. And then when my mom and dad separated, my mom started, she met a dude that hustled. He was like a kingpin, and he put her on. So then she went from hustling, I experienced all of that, to prostituting and trying her own product and getting hooked on crack cocaine.
This your mama?
For over 20 years, yes.
When did that start? What age was she?
Oh my, it was well in like the 80s and early 90s. You know what I mean? I can't remember what age she was, but yeah, she was of age. My mother had me when she was 25, and my dad was like 44.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So you're saying she actually got put on the blade first? She went out there and started...
No.
What happened first? You said drugs happened?
Drugs happened first. So my mother, we had it all, big homes, all of that with my dad, But like I said, when my father and my mom separated, then my mother met a man and was introduced to the drug game, And so then my older brother, who's like 5 years older than me, he started selling dope at like 16, 17 for like OGs. He got knocked and did 10 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
Was that like the thing from when you were growing up in LA? Is that like just the only thing you kind of saw, just the drug game, the game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like all I knew at the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's funny because, of course, we're from Texas. For you, how bad was it? Like, we're to the point where, like crackheads just walking down the street and you just see, like, open transactions, like, while you just
Let me tell you.
walking home? Or
You would see that. You would be in drive-by shootings, like you would have to hit the ground walking home from school. It was real.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was real. Like, I would see the battle ram. I don't know if y'all familiar with the battle ram back in the day. It's like an army tank.
Yeah,
and they got the long thing. They take the door off, and so that's really what was going on in the neighborhood.
How many drive-bys would you say you just heard or you were around?
Oh my God, many. Sometimes at night, sometimes walking to school, walking from school. Damn. It was the norm, unfortunately. It's sad, but it was like, you already knew, like, just hit the ground. If you're in the house, to just hit the ground. I had cousins that would rob jewelry stores, and my little brother now, he caught up right now. It's just, he was making counterfeit money a while back, but then he...
I do it.
Yeah, and he grew up a drug baby.
Oh,
ADHD, all of that. He was smoking with my mom, actually. Real talk.
So, how's your mom now, if you don't mind me asking?
She's deceased now.
What?
She died in 2017.
Condolences. What was the cause? Was it?
I think what it was. Well, she originally died. She had two forms of cancer. So she had liver cancer and like something with the blood, to be honest. But I had not seen my mom since 2017 in like over 20 plus years.
Are you serious?
I'm not lying. My mother didn't raise me like that.
Wow.
I mean, I was with her, and then not with her. My mother was, it was to the point where my mom would be like prostituting, right? She'd be like, oh, I don't know if y'all remember paper food stamps. They had the book, the
I
color
remember,
like
I
green,
remember.
brown,
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
like it got so bad. It was to that point where what we normally were used to, living in a big house and all of that, when my dad, and my mom separated, it was like we went to the hood. And we were not used to that. So when our other siblings would see us, they like, oh, they bougie. They think they all of that because they live over here on this side. But
Yeah.
then when things went left, it was like we had to, move in with family members. And I saw everything. I'm talking about the rats, the roaches, the drug transactions, the sex. My mom, at one point, she was so strung out, she was turning a trick, and literally, I was in the bed while they were
Literally, you in
having
the bed.
sex.
How old were you at this time?
Probably about 9, 10. Yeah.
Man, you were in the bed while your mom
While my
turned
mom,
the
I'm
trick.
playing sleep while my mom was turning a trick. Like, yeah.
Dad, that'll fuck somebody up, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Did that mess you up mentally? I mean, what is that? Because you're of age where you kind of.
I was of age to where I knew. I mean, I knew that wasn't cool. You're not supposed to be doing that, and your kid is right here, But I didn't understand it at the time, like why a person would do that. It wasn't until I became of age myself and started studying addiction and things like that that I was able to heal and forgive and understand addiction. Like addiction will make you sell your kids. It will, you know what I mean? Like,
nah.
so it wasn't until years later that I,
Do you classify addiction as a disease?
Oh yeah, it is a disease. I do believe. Let me tell you, it is a disease. Not only do I know that because of the mental health arena, but I actually went through drug and alcohol classes myself to beat a case. I've never done drugs or anything in my life. I don't even like cigarettes or none of that. But as a teenager, you try to smoke a little weed here and there.
Yeah, but I say you ever try it?
Yeah, I tried to smoke. Yeah, but that's not for me. I've even drank. It ain't for me. I got caught up even trying to drink, but
Damn, none of it's for you.
nah, I'm cool. My whole energy without being inebriated, I'm good. I'm high off life. I ain't knocking nobody for what they do, but that's not for me.
I just checking. All right, so let's go ahead and do it like this because you went into a story, and we're gonna get some more background about you, but I want to start with the story that you spoke on, and I kind of want to go all the way through it. You said that, of course, there was a situation where you had to take someone's life.
Yeah.
And it was for molestation or your molester. First of all, can you give us a history of the background between you and the assailant?
Yeah. So again, when my mom moved us in with family members, and my mom was out there just in the streets prostituting, she would be like, you know what, y'all, I'm about to go to the store. We wouldn't see her for like 30 days. We'll be driving and we'll see her on Figueroa. I don't know if y'all hip to Figueroa in California. But we'll see her. So by the time we circle back around the block, she running. We don't see her no more till like months later. So when she would come around, and have the men in and out and turn tricks, she's bringing different people in and out. When that happened, the guy that did that to me, my father hired him and my little brother's father as our lawn care people.
Okay,
So then my mom started messing with him, and then he started messing with me. And over a period of time, telling my mom and her not really, I'm not going to say in a space mentally, because sometimes I think it's a thing of they just don't believe you or they don't want to accept it. But when drugs are involved, it makes it more amplified. She's not in the right mind to make informed decisions for me, to even advocate for me. So over a period of time, and it happened, and, me being scared and I'm sorry.
No, please take your time, please.
Yeah, I got tired, and I got to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna take matters in my own hand. I mean, I didn't think it wasn't like premeditated, like like that, but it was. I got tired. Like, you ain't fondling, you ain't about to put. It was to the point where dude was sticking like things inside of me.
Yeah, can I ask? That's what I was gonna say, and if you feel comfortable with speaking on it, because most people, old women, young girls, sometimes they don't know what molestation looks like. they don't know the signs of when it starts. They may think of a person just
Yeah.
if they just rub on a leg, that's just maybe they're being attentive, and then it could go into something else. What was it for you? Like, how did it start for you? Was it something immediate, or was it something gradual that you just didn't kind of see what was going on? And
No,
how old were you?
It was gradual. I will say that because after a while and looking back, it was like the brush is up against the if you're walking one way and I'm walking one way, it's kind of like or complimenting. To me, a man shouldn't be telling a little girl like oh, you're so beautiful. Like it's little weird things that maybe in that moment I didn't realize, but over a period of time, and then it was like literally got bold with it and taking my hand and me groping him and stroking him and him touching me, and
you would grope him as well.
Him making me do those things, yeah, and then it got to the point where it was like, it wasn't penetration, but it was sticking objects inside of me and wanting to take pictures, just it was different things, and so. Mm-hmm.
You're in a home, correct? And you have your own room, or?
Yeah.
Okay, you have your own room. Who's in the house? Like who?
That at the time, again, family members are in the house, but it started out with me being kind of like embarrassed, and then when I finally made the outcry, it was like my mom didn't believe me, and it's like because I was always thick as a little girl. Like I'm gonna be real, like I was kind of thick for my age, kind of like. You see some 16 or 15, 12, 13, and they look more developed. I had boobs at that age. I had started my, and things like that. So I was developed already, kind of. And she would say, "Your ass just fast." Like, "Oh, your little titties is going, that's because you're letting touch on your titties," stuff like that. And it was like, well, dang, so how am I supposed to go about it? So then when I did finally say it, it was like, you lying, type of thing.
Since that's happened in being that you're a psychiatrist, have you studied the reason why?
Therapist, that's a little bit different. I'm sorry.
Have you studied the reasons why mothers don't believe their children?
Well, let me say this, and this is real talk, okay? I caught a case as an adult in another state before I moved to Texas. So my lawyers at the time used alcohol. I had to go through drug and alcohol treatment, right? I had to do 6 weeks and then 10 weeks recovery. And I had never done drugs. But my lawyers used that to help beat the case.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like real talk, yeah. I got the papers with me. But my lawyers used that to help beat the case.
How did it help
beat
it?
And let me say, they said that I was under the influence when it happened or whatever. That was just to, Yeah, so I had to go through drug and alcohol classes. And I shared this story on another platform, but what I learned is because when it originally happened, I was like, oh, I ain't supposed to be in here with these crackheads and these dope fiends and these pill heads. And, you had nurses in there that had lost their license because they were still in the prescription pads and they were writing prescriptions, and then they start taking Percocets. And so it was all kind of people. It was professional people in the class. But in my mind, I'm like, what? I ain't supposed to be in here. And what happens is you get like a sponsor or a counselor, right? And I would sit in the sessions and I wouldn't talk because I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm better than this, Right. But what I've learned as I began to go, and it was ordered through the courts, and I was on probation and all of that, what I learned was that I think that God put me there for a reason, to understand what I went through as a kid and addiction. And I didn't understand it at the time. I wasn't able to put it together because I was just angry, like, for something that I made the choice to do, and then they used that. But I know now, looking back, that it was for that reason. It was because it was necessary for me to start the healing process, to understand addiction, to understand that there were times when things may have gone on in our lives that, my mom wasn't in a position to reason because of crack cocaine.
Man. So let me ask, when you were being, because the guy, this is your mom's boyfriend now.
It was a Mexican guy.
A Mexican guy. Would it be a situation where you're asleep and then he comes on in, or you're woke and he tells you, hey, let's go to your room or something?
No, mind you, he was our lawn care. He was one of
Right.
he worked for my now little brother's dad at the time.
Yeah.
He would, you know how, like, say you have a business and you bring your workers, right, to cut the grass. He was our lawn. So when he would come through, and then it got to the point where my mom started cheating with who is now my little brother's father. So now they all come and hang out. They drinking Mickey's. There's a beer called Mickey, a little green bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they drinking Mickey's, and you know. So when he would come around, it was that like, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, or I'm gonna lure you in here, and I'm gonna, you know, and that type of thing. And it was like, okay, enough is enough.
Were you like during this assault? Each time, were you like mentally blocking it out? Like, were you like taking yourself to another place, or were you just like not even understanding what's going on?
At one point, I think it started out, and I was like, you know, I know this shouldn't be happening, you know, and then I went through different phases over the time of it happening. It went from maybe in the beginning, I didn't really realize it, you know, being young, but then it was like, well, I don't know if this ain't supposed to happen. Yeah. He shouldn't be telling me this, and he shouldn't be complimenting me, and he shouldn't be brushing up against me. He shouldn't be trying to have me touch on him, you know. Then it went from that to being fearful, and then that to being angry. Yeah. So the last stage was like, oh, I'm gonna get you. Yeah.
So did you tell anybody else besides your mom that this was going on?
I told my mom. No, I told my mom.
You didn't have any,
at that time. I told my mom.
So like, did you have any like friends around?
No, let me tell you this. Most of the people in my family on my father's side, at that time, were all either on drugs. Like, I didn't see any healthy anything. I'm gonna just be real. I didn't see any healthy anything other than my father. And when my father left, he ended up getting with a Hispanic lady, and he was still in my life, you know what I mean. But at times he went away, you know. But and then he would come back, and he would get me on the weekends, and he would, you know, and even scared at one point to tell my father. So I felt like if I told my father, it would be kind of like disappointing him, hurting him. Would he believe me? My mom already kind of, you know, don't believe me type of thing. So yeah, it was different stages. I will say that last stage was the anger.
The anger stage. So take us to that, because when you say enough is enough,
in my mind,
were you already like, was it like you were, like he asked earlier, were you plotting it? Were you like, if he comes back around me again, enough is enough? Or kind of take us through that moment where you're like, we're not doing this.
Yeah. No, it wasn't like, okay, on Tuesday when he come, I'm gonna get him. Yeah. It was more in the moment, like, you know, of course I thought like angry, you know, like I want to retaliate, but it wasn't like, well, when he come back next time, I'm gonna do this. Because honestly, before it got to that point, he had did it a few times. Like
you already done, and it's like you're kind of like,
I'm like, I'm gonna get, it's building up. It's building up. At this point, I'm feeling nasty. I'm feeling, you know, all kind of things as a little girl.
At this time? Around what age?
It's okay. I'm gonna say from like 11 and a half to like 12 almost, because by the time that happened and I actually went to the whole court process and all of that, I was like almost 13.
Okay.
And then it went, you know, on.
So with that being said, the day it happened, can you kind of walk us through the day of, like, what, like, just, you know,
yeah,
what took place?
So the day that it happened, and you know, here's the thing. Some people would say that it was premeditated. But honestly, I didn't just say like, okay, I'm going to get you on this day. Right. But the day that it happened, I was just tired. I was fed up. And some people would say, oh, well, she blacked out. You know? But, and let me go back, because I know I said the 39 times. Yeah. Not all, it is 30. It was 30. Oh, okay, it was 39 stab wounds. I think somebody said, it may have been Terrence, that was overkill. That was like, I think he said, oh, or one of y'all said on the 7th time he probably was already gone.
Yeah, that's where I was at with it.
Yeah,
like, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
yeah, but no, not all 39. You can get stabbed and it not cut an artery or a main vein, you know. Yeah. So not all 39 was just like through the thing, but it was when it all came out, it was 39 times, 39 stab wounds, 39 different stab wounds. But the one that actually took him out, it was it was in the heart. Yeah. And so what that, you said, walk you through what happened?
Yeah, just the day of, were you expecting to see him this day? And then if you weren't, seeing him, did you know, all right, he's about to try something? You just
It was more
automatically
so when I see this person, I know they're gonna try it because like it went from not just him cutting our grass and doing the landscaping to him hanging out with my brother, which is now my little brother's father, and like coming over and drinking and they partying and they play. I don't know if y'all are hip to a game called Pokino back in the day. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like these
heard
little,
of it.
and just kind of like hanging out. So in my mind, I'm like, you build up that fear, like okay, it's
Yeah.
it's probably gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Do you keep like,
And
I'm asking because the weapon that was used, was it a kitchen knife?
it was a knife. It
I
was
mean,
a
from the
knife.
kitchen or like this one you keep in your room, like a blade?
Nah, it was a knife from out the kitchen.
Wow.
So it was to the point where it's like, okay, I gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah, and then I'm like, went
Are
back.
people home? Like,
Let me tell you,
All
they
right, let's
were
go.
home, they were partying, they were drinking, and things like that. So then when it happened, I came out bloody, of course.
where were you? The bathroom, your room, or?
No, it was in my room. I told him I had to go to the bathroom, but I went to get the knife.
you
And I went back to my room. Yeah.
And was he laying
And
in
I
the bed?
got him.
Is he looking at you? Is he?
No, he was looking at me. It was like, close the door. I'm like, oh, close the door. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to close the door. All right.
Wow.
And everybody partying, drinking. Back then, too, I'm to tell you this. Like, my mom, when my mother passed away, my sister said that my mom said she had done everything but been with a white poodle with bows in her hair. Like, my mother used to go both ways. I didn't know that at the time. I found out that, like, like, as an adult.
Later, yeah.
But my mama used to party. When I tell you cocaine, like, the house was the party house after, my dad and my mom separated. But it was like the party house. And that's what went on. Drinking, smoking, gambling, playing Pokino, cooking. It was a party house.
What time of day this incident took place? Like, was it
In the evening.
In the evening,
It was
so
in the
still
evening.
like not too late.
I can't remember the time, but it was in the evening.
In the evening.
Like, not the exact time, but I do know it was in the evening because I know they were partying. They were partying,
So let me ask you:
and so it was in the evening.
did he put up a fight? Like when you did you walk back in and go straight? Did you say something and did
He
put
said,
up
close the door. I do remember he said, close the door and to lay down. And I had already put the knife, like concealed the knife or whatever. Yeah. And he told me to lay down. And I was like, I didn't want to lay down. You know what I mean? And he was like, lay down, hurry. And he turned me around and then,
Did he
yeah.
Did he put up a fight?
And he did. And let me tell you this. I didn't just go straight stabbing him like in his chest. Let me clear that up. It wasn't like,
it seemed like
no, because people that wasn't, no. But that was.
And when you say the word stab, was it more so you were trying to cut at first? Like, I'm just trying to.
No, I was trying to
going
stab.
For stab? Okay.
I'm trying to stab. But I think at that age too, I wasn't thinking like that I would actually. Like, I wasn't thinking that he was gonna die. Put it like that. I mean, you got to think. When you're scared, and when you're fearful, and when your back is against the wall, and you don't feel protected already, the people that were supposed to keep me safe, they did not. They failed at keeping me safe. So it wasn't like I'm gonna kill you. It was more so like I'm gonna hurt you, in my mind, not thinking that would kill him eventually. And
was he a small guy, tall guy?
No, he was like short, little Mexican, kind of chunky dude. He was short and kind of probably like Terrence.
Did you like that?
No.
So, how did it feel after you did this? What was your first emotion?
You know what? To be honest, I don't remember feeling like, I can't tell you right here in this moment like, oh, I felt like this or I felt one particular thing first. I think it was more like shock. Like, I didn't think that he was gonna die. I didn't think that it would be a domino effect of things.
When you walked out the room?
He was just there and laying there with the blood. So I did not know death until after. When people came and the police, and then and then I went out to where the adults were, and I'm bleeding, and I'm like, and they like, oh my God, what happened, type of thing, and then they go in there, and it's like they trying to, see if he is alive or whatever, and then it's like when they come back out, I'm like, okay, he ain't moving, you know what I mean? Now, That's in an 11-year-old mind, though. You see what I'm saying? So think of when y'all, if you were 11, your mentality and your thought process at an 11-year-old. I'm speaking now as a 47-year-old.
Right.
That happened so long ago. Some things I have purposely had to put away in order to move on in life.
Right.
Because if I stay there, I will stay traumatized. I would not be able to go any further in life. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to do the work that I do. But I use some of my story to tell people, like, this is real. You know, being sexually assaulted and molested or raped or for a man or a woman is not okay. And there are consequences that come with it if you take matters into your own hand. And there are times when, as a teenager on up until like early 20s, I carried that. You know, I carried that on me. Not understanding, not giving myself the grace to be like, I was a kid. They were supposed to protect me, you know. I took matters into my own hand, but I shouldn't have had to, is my point. If the adults were there to really protect me, I wouldn't have had to do that. And so then I ended up in the system, and then it was a domino effect of things, you know.
I was gonna ask you. So after that, where did it go? You come outside, the police are out there.
They end up calling
They call the
ambulance,
police.
police. All you see is sirens and all of that. And so then, yeah, you know, I'm not sure if you all are familiar. Like in California, now let me tell y'all this too. As of last year, in I think June, a lot of states have done away with the juvenile jails. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, because it does more damage than good. Right. Is what people were saying. So many other states, you know, they may have like one big one where they operate, and most of the offenders go there, but they have shut down a lot of the juvenile halls or wards. Now they try to say that they're like gladiator schools, or they have educational training programs, and it's geared more towards rehabilitation, not just locking a child down. And they don't really know the detriment or what they have caused. You know, they don't understand that at 10, 11. And then you can only enter that system at like 12 and a half, 13 years old, between 12 and 13, on up to 24, 25. Right. So yeah, it was just a domino effect of things, and you know, being there until the case was, you know, finalized and things like that. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Did they put you in like solitary confinement and things like that?
No. No.
What was
Not as a kid.
As you walked out there and you were bleeding, or not bleeding, but you had blood on you.
I had blood on me.
The adults
from
are like, "What the
his
hell?"
Blood. Mm-hmm.
The police come. What do they do to you? I mean, as a child, do they do anything to you? Are you scared now?
I am scared. Oh, of course, I'm scared. I'm shaking. You know, at this point, all the people that were there, of course, have been drinking and stuff. You know, but then the adult has to then stand in the gap and come and, you know, give a statement and do all of that. So we went through that whole process, and I can remember very vividly that even then I didn't feel protected. And I don't know. Let me say this: my little brother. Well, not my little brother, my older brother. He's 5 years older than me. The one I said he caught a case. Yeah. You know, he started selling dope for old school dudes at like 16. He had never, ever been to prison, never even been to jail. So when he got caught, the feds, they were watching him. They came in as the utility people. They had him, they had all of that. So he did 10 years. My mother never fought for him. She never got him a lawyer. Like she never fought for him. And I don't know, you know, in my mind, as a mom, I'm gonna go to jail or hell for my kids. Jail or hell, bring it. So and that's real talk. I mean that.
Yeah, and so I'm assuming you explained what happened and why you did this to the law enforcement.
Yeah.
Did they believe you early on?
Well, who the police?
Yeah, police or whoever you told. Like,
I felt like they did believe me. I feel that at that time they did believe me. And it worked in my favor because I'm good. Okay. Like I did what the time that I was supposed to do. My records are sealed.
Like
I ended up really kind of like beating the case. Real talk.
Were you supposed to do any time? I feel like you were supposed to go back.
I did do some time. I was a ward of the state for a while, but it was also throughout the duration of the case.
Yeah, I just feel like you should have went home. Like you should have never.
Oh no, I didn't just go straight home. Yeah, they have to still investigate. You know what I mean? Yeah, they still got to investigate and do their due diligence to make sure that it was, you know, because you do have young girls that kind of like reel men in, and that's a real thing. Like real talk, you have young women that, but I don't fault them solely because the adult the adult is the one that know better. Like these high school girls that mess with the gym teachers and I don't know if you guys hear about stories like that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, these girls are going to be fast, but it's the adult.
Yeah.
The responsible adult is the one that's supposed to keep the child safe.
Exactly.
You're the one that's supposed to have a voice of reason.
Exactly.
You know?
Did your mom believe you right the moment it happened and like, all right, because now she didn't believe you at first, but now it has come to this.
I think that at that time my mother was still under the influence. Like, remember I said that they were partying, doing their thing, they drinking, smoking, doing their drugs.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think after a while it was like, damn. After days had gone by and I'm there, and then she go back home and it's like, damn, my daughter, my baby, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the baby girl. Like, damn, this really happened. You know, when you sober up, that's like if you go get a ticket for drunk driving.
Yeah.
And you go to jail and they let you sleep it off. You wake up like, damn, what happened?
Damn, what happened?
Because when you got arrested, you wasn't in the right mind frame, right? Something like that. That's the feeling that I got from that situation at that time.
So you went through a court case. They guilty?
I didn't fully understand it at the time. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the WIC 707B codes, like the penal codes for juveniles. So I didn't understand it at that time. You know, it took me growing up and going through classes and anger management and I used to be on lithium pills as a kid. You know, I used to be in counseling myself. That's kind of what drove me to do what I do today. You know, working with young people in the nonprofit sector, working with child and protective services. People that know me, they know. I'm a CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate. And I advocate for other young people that's in the conservatorship of CPS right now. I used to work for ACH Child and Family Services for 7 years. I helped run the youth emergency shelter and the residential side of things, as well as I was on the clinical side of things.
Yeah, so we talked about CPS with Charleston White. I don't know if you've seen the interview.
Okay.
All up down there. So what do you think about people just being able to call CPS and just put CPS in people's lives? You think that's...
You know, let me tell you this. So as adults, we're all mandated, whether we take the oath or a permanency or CPS specialist or not, we still take that oath because we want to keep them safe, right? We want to protect and preserve the youth. They are the next generation. But I think sometimes people do it out of spite and hate. And they don't know the domino effect of things that it could cause for that family that you're calling on, making these accusations that are not true sometimes. So I think as adults, we have to decipher, like, okay, what's really going on? Is it really abuse and neglect going on, or is it habitual homelessness? Is it because just because a person is homeless don't mean that they're neglecting their children. It could be that they lost their job, or that they don't get paid enough on their job. They lost their car. It could be different things, right? So when you call CPS, you got to really have evaluated, because now they have to take it serious. They have to take it serious. And so they're doing their job, they're doing their due diligence, and it's a real thing that could cause these kids to be moved and put in a home where now you're going to go get raped. Because I've seen it. Now you done took this child, this little girl, and now she's in this respite home, because that's what they call it, until they're adopted out or until they're placed in a group home. And now they're going to get fondled on. And now you're re-traumatizing. Now you thought that they were being traumatized when they were with their family. So now you're putting them here, and now they might get raped by the father, or the foster mom might, you know. That's a real thing. I've seen it. I'm telling you.
So can there be situations where someone cries wolf, like, hey, this person is abusing their child, but they have no evidence of it? I know every phone call has to get taken serious, but at some point you'd be like, are they just... Does it sound inspired? Like, what evidence do you have to prove that this is happening?
Well, let me say this. When the worker come out, right, the investigator, they have to take into consideration, because school teachers can make a report. You can come to school and you got a little bruise. You may have busted your chin. And they're like, oh, little Johnny, how did you get that? You know, you didn't have that yesterday. And then you're like, oh, I fell, you know. And then in their mind, they're like, I don't believe Lil Johnny. But Lil Johnny could be telling the truth. So now you're going to make a hotline report, and CPS is going to come out and see the child at school, and then they're going to ask Lil Johnny all of these different questions. And it's up to the worker to say, okay, in the report, this is what it is or this is what it's not, and then close the case or open the case. And then now you've removed not just Lil Johnny, but his 4 siblings. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. No, like it's a real thing. It's really sad, and it's happening more and more in our black families. You know, and then they talk about the reunification process to try to get the families back. But by that time, now you need therapy because now you done sent little Johnny or little Susie somewhere, and they done turn little Susie out.
Yeah, Charleston White said it takes a lot for them to take your kids. Is that true?
It does. It's not just an instant thing. It's a process. Unless there are physical bruises and the child is like, look, he stuck his penis in me, or she beat me up, or she split my, you know, it. But yeah.
The child says it. That's mostly what they go
on. Not just that, but it will initiate and get the ball rolling. Right. More than just the word, because now the person, like, you're hearing it from the victim. Right. You know, but also children recant their stories. I've seen that happen where children will lie. They get mad at mom or dad and they're like, I'm running away. And then, you know, the neighbor like, oh, you came over here? Yeah, I ran away. You know, oh, well, you can sleep here for the night. Well, I'm going to call CPS on your mama instead of calling the mom to say, hey, Monica's over here. What's going on? But no, you just going to, you just going to take it up on your own and call CPS? That's not cool. Yeah.
All right, well, I want to definitely delve into, you know, again, you have such a colorful past. You actually got into the game yourself.
I did.
Who introduced you to the game? Who, you know, coming from even a troubled background, troubled childhood, and you having all this, you know, gang activity, drug activity, seeing your mother how she was. What made you want to be able to get in the game and sell dope and do things like that? You know, you seen your mother on it.
Yeah, at one point, I feel like it was all I knew, all I had been exposed to. I mean, although, like I said, my father he was a businessman. Actually, he was a Marine. My father was a Marine. And so he, you know, he was a businessman, and I saw that side, but I was with my mom's people more until I moved from California to Ohio with my father's people. But when I stayed in Cali, that's all I knew. You know, I didn't see really too many good examples of people getting up, going to work. It was like, you know, I see people going to rob the jewelry store, or see them hustling, and I, you know, see them having shootouts and gang banging, and even the girls were gang banging, you know. And I'm talking about like banging hard. Like that's what I saw. So when I, you know, met someone and they introduced me to it, I already knew the game, and they was surprised, like, what? You know how to do what? You know how what it weigh on the scale? You know how to bag it up? You know how to cut it? You know how to cook it?
Wait, who introduced you to the game? Like, who taught you?
An older gentleman that I was kind of dating.
Okay.
I was messing with.
He wanted to recruit you. Said, "Man, you smart. You good with your hands."
I'm good. I am smart, and I'm very crafty. Yeah. So, you know, and because I already knew the streets with us talking, he like, I'm gonna put you on. So I started making runs, like on the highway.
You were making money, like you seen more money than you ever seen at the time. Okay, yeah.
I was making money. We had it to where like the whole vehicle was equipped, like everything. Like,
yeah, where'd you have it? Where the footboard?
Yeah, we had it a few different places, but the footboards, you know. So I would get me and my homegirl, and we would just go.
How much
when
money?
When I got up in age, like teenager, once all of that stuff was straightened with.
How much money would you say you were bringing in? Let's just say either monthly or weekly.
Thousands, like sometimes $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and for me at my age, I thought that was good. Oh, yeah. We going to New York, we going to Atlanta, we going to Tennessee, we, you know, Memphis. We just going, and because we young and, you know, dumb, dumb, money get to coming in good, and then it turned into, okay, well, I'm gonna introduce you to these strippers, because my little sister was stripping at the time, you know, and then she got the gift of gab, and okay, well. So it was kind of like an escort service.
Man. Real quick, while you were making your runs, I got to ask, did you ever get in a situation where you got pulled over and you felt like, oh, it's about to go bad right now?
Honestly, no.
Man.
Nope. It's like get to where you getting and get back. And we knew the road. We knew what routes to take. You know, we knew where the highway patrol would be. We would do what they tell us to do. Yeah. And we would go. And we would get it and go. We knew the speed limit. We knew to not panic. Don't be crossing over the lane without, you know, we just knew. I never did get caught up, but I almost got caught up with the whole organized crime thing with the women, because they started wanting to sell themselves on Craigslist, and then the undercover cop try to solicit and, but yeah.
So tell us about that run as far as technically becoming a madam, technically. And
From madam to therapist.
Yeah, right. How many did you have in your stable, man? How many girls were you trying to?
Oh my goodness. At the most that we had at one time, like real talk, like about, I'll say almost 30 at one time, because a lot of them were strippers anyway. And then, they would do private parties, and then it's like they want to make sure, and then I would be the one that kind of arranged it, got the hookup going, made sure they was going to the doctor, make sure they had what they needed. A lot of them were struggling, real talk. So that he would make sure that they straight too. But yeah.
That's real. You weren't worried about I forgot who we asked. I think Pimp and Ken or somebody, but we were asking about the crime that goes with that, like the serial killer that might be out there messing up the money.
Messing with me or with the women?
Messing with the women.
Yeah, that's always in the forefront of. It should be in their mind, but it's always in the forefront of my mind.
Yeah, as you being a woman, technically it should be like, you're a woman. It's like it really concerns you. Or were you like cold blooded with it? Like, man, I don't give a fuck.
I was a fighter growing up. Let me say this. I used to be in a motorcycle club. Shout out to Uncontrollable Women, the largest female MC in Dayton, Ohio. So I was the enforcer. Even now, even now, I'm licensed to carry. Like, I'm legit. All of that stuff is my past. I never really did no prison time. Like, my childhood record is my childhood record. I'm good. Like, I'm good. But I was the enforcer in the motorcycle club. Yeah, I was one of the enforcers. And so even now, like, I'm a single mother out here. Yeah, I got a whole 9mm. Like, it's better to have it and not need it than not have it.
There you go.
Period. It's not my intent to kill nobody, but I will.
So in your madam days and also in your enforcer days, you just kept it on you, huh? You just moved around and you just kept it on you?
Yeah, that part.
Oh yeah. Now you enforcer for real. Enforcer for real. Goddamn.
And I mean, I didn't start no fight. When I say I was a fighter, I'm not just talking about physical fight. Like, I'm not I like to look cute. Let me clear that up. I will fight if I have to, but I'm not the female that's about to be like, I don't do no bunch of cussing. I don't know how to do all of that. I'm going to get mad and probably some tears come out. And then I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this person.
How was the motorcycle club? How was the MC? We see things like Sons of Anarchy, man. Like it goes down.
Yeah, we're going in the club, stay in the clubhouse. But we used to have cabarets. We used to see all kind of stuff. Strippers, drinking, smoking, cheating, threesomes. I used to be married, so it is what it is.
You see how it went.
Yeah.
All right, so let's build to it. You ended up, of course, you're educated again. You have your degrees.
Thank you.
You ended up, or coming to this point, becoming a mental health therapist. Was there something in humans that you saw like, man, I need to learn more about what makes us tick?
Yeah, you know what I like? So my first degree is in criminal justice and forensic science. So I have a degree also in criminology. I used to do therapy with the prisoners. So I love forensic science. I love, I think when I was here, we talked about Snapped. I think he was like, do you ever watch those first 48? I love that type of stuff. I love science.
Yeah.
I even thought about mortuary science at one point, but it's not enough money in that for me, unless I want to own a funeral home or something, but nah.
We also interviewed a guy named by the Old Man, right? And he said that you can't be rehabilitated. You're either a convict or inmate.
I don't believe that. Let me tell you, I'm walking in my redemption. I'm about to go speak at a prison here in Texas, in Gainesville, this month. I speak to the youth. My resume is extensive. Nothing that I've done in the past am I ashamed of. Nothing that I've done in the past have held me back. Life is what you make it. If I'm dealt these cards, I'm going to play them like I can't play. I'm going to play them. I'm going to play them. And you can either make it work for you or against you. And that's with anything. So I believe that people can be rehabilitated.
So you talk to a lot of convicts, mentally, like as for your profession. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that, like, to understand the criminal mind? Like, what are some things that you hear constantly? Are most people just crazy, or is it a lot of just rush of emotion at the time to do criminal activity?
No, there are some people that are really psychopaths. There are really some killers that have no remorse. They don't care. they have it in them. They crave the blood. They crave that power and that control, and they crave, how you hear people say trigger happy, or not even just when it pertains to guns, like strangling a person and getting that euphoric feeling from doing that and watching their victim, in the eyes, and like that's a real thing,
What type of prescription do you give a killer for something like that? Like, what is that? They get Seroquel? What they get?
A lot of prisoners are on Seroquel, believe it or not. It's so many different. Like I told y'all, I used to be on lithium. Lithium is very strong. I was on it as a kid, high doses as a kid. And my grandmother used to be like, she don't need that. I had to get therapy. When I moved from California and went through all of that, moved with my grandmother, I was in therapy as a teenager. I'm talking about extensive treatment to the point where I would be so scared, I would sleep in the bed with my grandmother.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll do it. So when you watch someone like a serial killer, Ted Bundy, what's the name, Jeffrey Dahmer,
Cutting up the people.
You see people commit murder, let's say a couple murders, they get away with it. They haven't got caught, but they have the urge to keep doing it until they get caught. Like, from your experience, do you feel like, what is that urge just to say I'm 17 in, like I just haven't got caught?
I got away with it. It's like
the fact that you got away with it, you got to keep doing it.
You got to keep doing it. That's exactly a lot of the times what it is. It's the not getting caught. I knew somebody that, I don't know if y'all heard of boosters. People, like, let's say I knew a female who would go in Walmart or Target. Walmart and Target is going to let you keep coming back and back and back. They're going to be watching. That security office, they watching you because they're building their case. Yeah. So in your mind, you're like, oh, girl, it was easy. I got away with it. It's like, no, dummy, you didn't get away. They just building their case, and they waiting on the right time to bust you. It's the same with drug dealers. They get too greedy. You got to know when to fall back, when enough is enough. They get greedy, and they keep going and going and going, and eventually you get caught. It's because you're not getting caught originally. So in their mind, it's that drive. It's like, damn, I got to do it again. We robbed the bank, like set it off. We robbed the bank, we going to go do it again. Yeah. It's like, no, calm down. You want to get caught, So yeah, it's that euphoric feeling. And it's it's the mental illness also creeping in. It's the imbalance, the chemical imbalance, the imbalance in the brain as well. I at one point studied the brain, the amygdala and things like that,
So being a therapist and talking to convicted killers and stuff, can you tell when you're talking to a killer?
Not necessarily, because let me tell you, people are slick with it.
Right.
And when you think of these criminals, they're going to say whatever they got to say to reel you in. And me being a woman, oh yeah, they going to try me every time.
So let's go to Terrence. Meeting Terrence, right?
Let's use him as an example.
Like he doesn't come off as a killer, but it's some dark inside him that.
Do y'all really believe that? Because I know we talked about that the last time. People say he don't show remorse.
I believe that when I look at Terrence, I see someone who wants to do better and live in society and stuff. But I can definitely look at Terrence, and I've had partners that are, like I can see Terrence killing.
He's a killer.
You know what I'm saying? So.
I mean, we all got it in us, right? I think I said that the last time. You have your back against the wall. What you gonna do?
Yeah, you gonna do something.
You may not. The intent may not be to kill, but you gonna fight your way up out of it, right? It's gonna be either me or you. So with Terrence, I think because he's so confident in who he is, and he's a Muslim, and he has already asked for forgiveness. So why do I got to keep walking in the past?
Right.
I'm walking in my redemption.
Right.
And if people can't accept that, that's their problem, not his, I don't owe nobody else nothing but Allah. Right. That's just the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think Terrence, I think he just deals with like an absolution for his problems,
But here he goes. He like, did I hear my name?
Let's finish. Like, if it's a problem, I want to see it all the way to the end of that problem. I don't want
tell me something else.
I don't want no problem keep creeping back up on me. Do you feel like let me ask you this, mentally?
So we talking about Terrence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like some people, they like you went through your situation. You felt, and I don't know if you meant to kill your assailant, but that is probably for you to go grab that knife. You're like, the absolution to fix this problem has to end.
You got to know I'm serious and I'm tired. It wasn't necessarily like I'm gonna kill him like right now. It was I'm gonna stop him. He just happened to die.
Okay, I'm about to say, because stopping could make it like, okay, I'm going to come back.
He just happened to die.
Man. So
from what I did. He happened to die. It wasn't like, oh, I'm about to go kill him today. It was he happened to die from me stabbing him.
do you ever have the urge to see when they have like a mass shooting to mentally get in the mind of the mass shooters? There was a guy in Las Vegas who was rich, old guy, been plotting to do this mass killing, and the police are baffled because they still looking at his life, going through his history, and there's no manifesto for him. There's nothing that's led to like why he would want to do this. Do you, when you see things like that, or the guy shoots up a school, do you mentally want to understand why?
Yeah, I do. I am so analytical. That drives me. Like seriously, I do. I like stuff like that because it makes me wonder, like, well, what happened? And when there is no evidence, but that goes to show you can be around a person for years and still not know the person. People look at me and they be like, even when we were here, Catrice was like,
yeah, and you're just like, what?
They had it on that clip. She was like, 39 times. And he said something and she was like, he shouldn't have been touching her, and, but see, you can't always judge a book by its cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't. But yeah, I love stuff like that. I love forensics. I love the scientific part of it. I love the I love criminology. Like I'm very good when it comes to that.
So I do always feel like, prisoners should have mental health therapists, but also like police, because, I think they need to be evaluated almost on a yearly basis. Are they fit to still do this job?
Yeah, they are evaluated.
Okay,
you didn't know that? They're not just evaluated when my daughter's boyfriend is about to be a cop. They're not just evaluated when they first join the force. It is a continual thing. Now, what I noticed that different departments have been implementing is that they have a mental health therapist on the force, on the team. They have a thing where, like, if back in the day, people would have a manic episode. Yes. And they'll be out, waving the knife and the police just shoot them. Right. So now you have somebody because I thought about doing this, like real talk. Yeah. Now you have a mental health therapist on the team that knows how to de-escalate the situation without using force. So they're trained in trauma-informed care and things like that so that they can reach them without using deadly force or.
I see. Mm-hmm. Mental health therapists, is their job to evaluate someone, or is their job to fix that problem?
Well, both. I mean, it's not a fix.
Yeah,
it's to give them the tools that they need yes, thank you.
Yes.
Because I can't fix anyone. You have to be willing to learn and unlearn, and I give homework assignments. I say, okay, at our next session, I want you to tell me how that worked for you. Mm-hmm. And then, what's going on. So on our group, on our sessions, we talk about those things. I can't fix them. I can only give them the tools and the resources that they need to make them better in those areas. There's a difference between counseling and therapy. Counseling is more short-term, goal-specific. Therapy is more long-term, and it covers a variety of things.
So you do feel therapy does help, like 100%?
You got to work it, though. I mean, you got to work it. Because I get clients that be like, they don't want to.
You feel like everyone should at least have some type of therapist?
Yeah, I have a therapist, and I'm a therapist, and I see a therapist.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not ashamed of it, because life will get to lifing, and I'm human,
That's very good.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of people also using mental health illness as a cop-out. Do you feel like they sometimes use that? Oh, it's like sometimes it might. I mean, in my opinion, it might not be mental health. It's like literally, I guess when you say I'm just fucked up, it is mental health. But people, I think no, it's not a mental illness. I'm just going out here doing this cognitively that I know what the hell I'm doing.
I think that some people are weak. Let me just be real with you. I think that a lot of people use it as a crutch or a handicap. They allow it to handicap them. And it's not mental. They haven't been diagnosed. They're almost diagnosing themselves. And it's like, no, you're not mentally ill. You're just lazy as fuck. You're not mentally ill. You just need to get your shit together. You're not mentally ill. You need to have a little more tough skin. Because the things that our parents may have gone through, I'm older than y'all, but a lot of these people wouldn't even be able to walk a mile in their shoes. They'll buckle. They'll coward out. It's like I be wanting to say, get your shit together. What's the problem? Like, get a grip. But I don't negate the fact that mental health is real. Yeah. Before people come for me in the comments.
Mental health is real.
It's real and it's important and all of those good things that we know. But there are times when it's not a mental illness. It's like, oh, woe is me. It's like, really? I can't do this. Well, why? Why not?
That's what I said.
So,
That's what I
yeah.
said. So also you and I want to touch on all your gifts. You also got into real estate as well.
Yeah, I graduated. I finished real estate school last year in April, and then I took the exam.
Are you
Keller Williams is my broker.
I was about to say, are you going further into it?
I do property preservation also.
Okay.
So, like with the Department of, HUD, we all know what it's HUD, FHA, and VA. You get contracts with the banks and things like that. So, I do have a property management team company.
Okay, yeah.
More
we may highlight you.
management.
We may highlight you.
Yeah.
It's crazy because, again, we had you in here, you evaluated Terrence Gangster, and we're like, man, I think mental health is, when I look at what he kind of got through, I look at us, I look at everyone else out here, I do feel your job is necessary. For those who have not ever seen a mental health therapist, what can they expect when they go in their first session? What can they expect if they go look for a mental health therapist? Because some people might just be like, man, I'm good. I don't need nobody talking to me.
Yeah.
What can they expect when they go in there to talk to them?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say, you can't heal what you don't reveal first. So a lot of the times people may have an issue and don't know it and may take their best friends or their loved ones to say, look, bro, or look, sis, I noticed that you've been acting like this. Why don't you seek some help? That type of thing. Or you may have those that are fearful because they don't know what to expect. Or they may feel like, I'm not crazy. I can't let the boys know I'm in therapy. What? I'm a man, And even with women, nah, I'm okay, But in the consultation in the first few sessions is more of me getting to know them, seeing what it is that they have gone through, what they need, and how I can write up the plan to help them be successful. So yeah, that's pretty much a lot of getting to know one another, establishing the rapport, and writing out some goals,
Should black men go to black men therapists, go to black women? Should white people talk to a black therapist? Should black people talk to a white therapist? Should you want someone that looks like you, been through what you've been through, be your mental health therapist?
I hear a lot of people say that they would prefer, but I don't think that plays a part in the healing process, because just because I look like you don't mean that I can resonate with you. You know what I mean? You go with what works for you. And if you get one that is not a good match, because that happens a lot of the times, then you continue your search. You say, these are the things that I need. So if we were in a session, of course, I'm going to say, well, get to know you, right? What is it that you've gone through? Why are you here? What are you looking for from me? Because then I have to say, okay, can I meet his needs, or do I need to refer him out to somebody else? So, yeah.
If there's a young girl right now being molested, what should she do right now?
Definitely talk to someone that she feels safe with, someone that will listen and not pass judgment, or not be like, oh, you fast, you asked for it, or, you were wearing them little bitty shorts, so you deserve it. Because I want to wear whatever I want to wear, doesn't mean I deserve to be touched on or disrespected or molested.
What
Definitely speak up.
Yeah, what if she can't talk to someone like you're in your position?
And that's the thing,
Should she just go to the police, or like?
Some people don't feel safe.
Right.
Even, speaking out. Like I used to tell my clients in the group home, I say, look, there's a difference between me telling you you're safe and you feeling like you're safe. Mm-hmm. So you can say all day long, oh, girl, you good, you safe. But if I don't feel that, then I'm not safe.
Right.
You know what I mean? So definitely speak out to, if it's a friend, a school nurse. I remember at one point in California, my school nurse used to be like my go-to person at one point. But I then felt like, well, she's the nurse and she's already overwhelmed and she's going through her personal life. It has to be somebody that's receptive.
Right.
They can't just brush you to the side and think you're lying, and, like somebody that is going to really listen to you and believe you. Like, that one person, all it takes is one. And I didn't have that. I didn't have that. So that's why I am a court-appointed special advocate. I'm a CASA worker.
Do you feel like it's ever too late to speak out? Like, if this happened to you when you were young, what should you do if you're older now, you're in your 20s, and this happened when you were a teenager, or you're in your 30s? Should you come out, or did you go after the person that did
Yeah.
this to you?
Yes, I think I was on Terrence's channel the other day. We talked about the statute of limitations and things like that. Definitely speak out. There is no, look, whenever you feel that you're ready, you speak out. You know, you give voice to your situation. Can't nobody tell your story like you. Can't nobody tell my story but me, you know?
Right. So you see women who go out, you know, like not saying Bill Cosby victims, but people like when they go 30 years later.
Yeah.
And you're like, technically that trauma is going to always stay with you. And just even seeing someone could trigger effects. So there's no, like for you, whenever you see those people that come out 25 years later, 30 years later, you're more like, yes, speak your truth.
I'm more like, yes, speak your truth, but I'm also like, as a therapist, it makes me believe that they didn't have time to heal. There was no healing. And so now they are to a place where they can give voice. But all those years, they didn't get the treatment that they needed to start the healing process. Another thing, when you talked about they could see somebody and it trigger them, it could be a smell. It can be me hearing a lawnmower. No, real talk. Right. My kids know that I don't let people just touch me on my arm because it makes me like, it freaks me out.
Right.
You know, I'm not a touchy-feely type of person because I'm always kind of like, you know, and it doesn't mean that I'm not healed. It's just that those things tend to still be there, you know, sometimes. So, yeah.
When you see situations like everything that's going on with P. Diddy, what do you think about him? Do you think that this is true at everything, all the allegations? Do you believe this, or do you? And what if you do think it is true? What would you say P. Diddy is like? What would be classified as?
A predator.
Okay.
A fucking predator. And I don't know him personally. I don't know if it's true or not, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And it's been too many different people coming out. Cassie, now this other young man, they say he's lying. I don't know. I'm not God. I'm not here to judge. But where there's smoke, there's fire. I will say that. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's because he got money and they trying to, you know, blackmail him and this and that. Well, I mean, don't put yourself in situations either. When you are on that platform and you have that legacy and that money and all of that, you can't be everywhere with everybody all over the place. You got to already know, like, you know, I can be putting myself in harm's way, or I can be setting myself a failure to be, you know, on the blogs or whatever down the line.
I was on the podcast and everybody got mad at me when we was at the podcast, and we had a whole bunch of women on the podcast. They got mad at me when I said this, but I want your take on it.
Okay.
I was like, they just bringing down all these black celebrities. Everybody's not molesting everybody. I'm gonna say it again because I feel like I got a lot of homeboys, right? We're not molesters. We're not doing. It's like that's not a thing. Like, why is every single nigga that's hot coming down with, you know what I'm saying? And it's just black. It's targeted as black people.
I don't agree with that. Let me tell you this. So I went viral like a year, almost 2 years ago. I was dating a Nigerian gospel artist. He's an icon. Y'all can look him up. When y'all look him up, y'all gonna see my face pop up. One video had 92,000 views. I didn't know that in like less than 48 hours, should I say, that it would go viral. I met this man, millionaire. I met him, I was on the red carpet with another artist at an event. And before I knew it, and I'm just being real, I have a series that's about to come out about it, an update. But I dealt with this man, and he never told me that he was married. People were like, well, why you didn't go and look and check and all of this? Because I wanted to believe him. I'm not married, you married. That's your responsibility. You should have told me to give me the option as to if I wanted to deal with a married man. Right. But I said that to say that people were saying that I was blackmailing him. I didn't have to blackmail him. He gave me everything I wanted, thousands of dollars. I didn't have to blackmail him. I didn't want for nothing. He invested in my business, $160,000 here, 10. I didn't have to blackmail him. So that would be stupid. But my point is, people in positions of power, they got to do better. You say one thing and you do another. Right. And I wasn't blackmailing, but it was also him using his power and manipulating the situation. And people, when they are on these platforms like Diddy, like TD Jakes, allegedly, like the Samuel Poso, the guy that I was dealing with, and I got pregnant by the guy and everything. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. But the first thing they try to say is, oh, she's blackmailing or he's blackmailing. I didn't grope him. I didn't have, get him to have gay sex or, gay relations. They use that power as a manipulation tool, and that also goes back into the mind of people, the mind of the psychology, the psyche, of people. We're fallible. That's them trying to protect their brand, as they should, I guess, and that's their way of fighting back. But to me, it's cowardly. Right. Just own your shit. Just say, yeah, I messed with her. You know what I'm saying? I messed with him.
So you would have got on my ass in the podcast too when I said that.
Nah, because on the flip side, like I think Terrence mentioned that, some of these people, they agree to having these relationships with people, and the minute it go wrong, it's like, oh, well, shit, I'm about to put it all out here. Right. So you do have, I get it. I totally get it, but I do believe a lot of it is manipulation, and it is grooming. Like we talked about grooming. A lot of it is you grooming that person to be what you and who you want them to be. And of course, especially if you get somebody, and I know this from the females that we used to deal with, I knew that those females were struggling in college. I knew that those females didn't have a place to stay. I knew that, and they were grown. Let me say, they were of age. It wasn't like teenagers. Huh?
I said, better tell them.
Yeah, because
they're grown.
That'll be a thing. It wasn't grooming them underage, but we were grooming them at their age to do the certain things. We didn't put a gun to their head, but they were willing participants. So even with the Puff Daddy situation, I don't know if Mr. Jones is lying or not, but he obviously was in certain environments at the freak offs or with Cuba Gooding Jr. allegedly or whatever, to where at one point you was cool with it. At one point I was cool with the dude giving me money, even before,
Yeah, no.
And when I found out he was married, he spent the block and I let him.
Well, I do know, I have seen where women have lied, made false claims, and have messed men up. It happens both ways,
It happens both ways. It does.
You had mentioned to your mother that, this was happening. She didn't believe you. Mm-mm. Now I think they do have like 1-800 numbers to call.
Yeah, now, yeah.
I don't know one of those numbers, but we may put it, of course, in the description.
Please do. No, for real.
So,
yes.
Because I do believe someone's out there willing to listen, because sometimes family does. I know a mother who marries a stepfather is normally going to be in doubt or in disbelief about the stepfather doing something to her child. I've seen it happen many times where they're like, no, my man is. They stop lying on him. You just fast.
And that's crazy to me.
And I'm like, that's just.
That's crazy. I would never. Nah, that's a whole nother ball game for me. I'm not gonna put no man over my kids. Yeah. I would not put no man over my kids. But there have been times when I told y'all when my mother died, I hadn't seen my mother since I was a little girl. And I didn't see her over 20 years.
That is crazy.
And she put a lot of men before her kids at times, But I think that is something wrong with the woman. You're lonely. There's something in that woman that would allow that. You want that man that bad. I have a problem with women letting the men babysit their kids. I've never been the type that let men in and out of my home. I got a problem with that. Or him driving the car and you at work. Where they do that at?
Well, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nah, hell, I don't know. Nah.
Okay.
You ain't driving my car and I'm at work. That part, okay.
Come on, man. You got to go out there and make things happen while you at work.
What are you making happen? On the game?
Yes, he gonna pick you up on time.
Baby. No.
He gonna pick you up on time.
But it works both ways. And I have seen, like I said, I've worked with CPS, so a lot of the children that came through the home, and a lot of them still reach out to me to this day. And they'll say, they have kids, and they're like, I'm about to interview one on my platform on March the 7th. She's in Houston. Yeah. And, they reach out and they ask for resources, or they'll say, I'm one of their moms and things like that. And it makes me feel good to see them growing and being, have become successful and have kids and things. But it's a real thing out here. I've worked with human trafficking victims at the underground in Fort Worth. Oh, so yeah.
It's bad out here too.
It's bad out here.
Trafficking has gotten crazy.
When I see these Amber Alerts popping up on my phone and they
come more
13-year-old ran away, it makes me wonder what is going on in the home to make a child want to just flee like that. I would be scared of the damn dark. I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna be outside on this porch till I'm not mad no more.
I'm telling you. When it comes to for just on a mental health side of things. Mm-hmm. Have you ever dealt with like an habitual cheater, like whether woman or man, to where do you feel like
my ex-husband?
Yeah, like Do you feel like therapy would have helped him? Like, you know,
We
like,
did try therapy.
like let's talk through our problems so we can fix our problems.
We tried that so much to where when I was married, I was like, I want to do everything, on exhaust all my opportunities and all the resources before I
Right.
walk away. So we tried that and it still didn't work. But I think that any form of therapy or counseling, you have to be willing to do the work. Perfect example, when I said I caught the case and I was in the drug and alcohol classes, right? I wasn't willing to do the work in the beginning. I wasn't willing to do the work. But something kicked in along the journey and I was like, okay, I opened up more. I started understanding addiction. I started wanting more and wanting to research and then here I am. I even thought about going for LCDC, licensed chemical dependency, counselor. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna go here. But I had the desire at that point to learn what is it about drugs that will make a mother want to leave her child or drop them off at the gas station or sell her daughter or not believe her daughter or things like that. When crack first hit the scene, let me tell you, my mother was rolling. She went from, I'm talking about balling, real talk, to trying her product. I don't think people realized when crack first hit the scene that it was going to be so powerful and that they would become hooked the way they did. They say that you're looking for that first hit, that feeling, that euphoric feeling. You're trying to find, and you're not going to get it no more. So you go back and back and back and back, and you're not going to get it no more. And so now you're hooked, We've had mayors and politicians on drugs and on crack. So it's not just people on this side of the track. It doesn't discriminate. It's the same with fentanyl. It doesn't discriminate.
Man. All right, well, we learned a lot. We learned a lot, man. This is very interesting, man. As things happen, we may bring you back in just to evaluate the mental health of things that happen in the world and things like that. As we get here, I want you to be able to give your
Oh yeah, before we do that, I just can't forget his name. The military soldier that set himself on fire.
Yeah, Nick, somebody, right?
Nick, did you see that on Twitter?
I don't.
Okay, let's skip it.
No.
I want you to look it up.
Okay, I will definitely look it up.
And mental health wise, do you feel like Biden has another 4 years in him?
No, Biden his body. I don't think will even allow him to do that.
Oh damn.
He's forgetful. He's
see the way he walks in. I mean, just him walking. I'm like, bro,
he
can you
needs to
even
go
get
and
on?
sit down. He needs to sit down.
Whenever I see him walking up the steps, like
and
the
tripping,
I'm like, oh bro, oh my god, I'd be scared for him, like these steps.
Yeah. He's always tripping up the steps, getting on the plane. Now he needs to sit down and just rest for his mental health.
And
for his mental health.
yeah, so no, Biden, just give it up, bro. Just give it up.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to watch a little bit of the Wendy Williams doc, or at least
a little bit? I did. Mm-hmm.
From a mental health therapist, what would you say? Do you think she's fit to go back to work from what you saw?
I don't think she's fit to go back to work. I love Wendy Williams, but let me say this: I think a lot of it is the people that's around her.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
It's all good until it's not good, right? And when you have people around you that's not going to tell you no, like yes, they say yes man or yes men or
Right.
I think it's a lot of people that was milking the cow. I think it was a lot of people just
Didn't
not
care about her well-being.
holding her accountable. They didn't care.
That's what it looks like. And they say she's getting better now at the end of the documentary. Now that she's gotten away from the people that she was kind of around who just weren't, like you said, milking the cow.
Milking the cow. So maybe I think a little bit more work is required before she's back fully. So I would love to see her back, but I definitely think that there has to be some restructuring of her team.
What is she suffering from? What would you say?
People were saying dementia. People were saying drugs. It's been all in Graves' disease. It's been like a plethora of things. So those are the things that I've heard.
Yeah. So you're a therapist. So you wouldn't prescribe anything.
I don't prescribe meds, but I can refer you to
someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you think meds are good?
I think meds is one part of the intervention. I think that should be a last resort. But I do believe that people have chemical imbalances and they may need meds and it may not have to be a long-term thing. Am I opposed of it? No. But I just think with the proper treatment, med management, you can be on it for a little bit to get back stabilized and then possibly wean yourself off depending on the med. So yeah, I am okay with the meds, but I don't think it's a first, like, oh, we just gonna put you on meds, because some doctors, they just write you for prescription and you out of their office. And it's like, well, you're looking for this medication to fix you and you haven't got to the root and the meat of the problem. You gotta figure out what's the need behind the behavior, even with kids, So yeah, I don't think medication is just a one here, you take this and you're better. Come back in 6 weeks or in 4 weeks, you know.
Right.
So yeah.
All right, so Grace, for those that do want to seek your mental health skills, maybe hire you for a one-on-one session, I guess, I don't know, or even need your real estate expertise, get in there. How can they follow you? Are you on social medias? Are you, like you said, you're about to start another series that you're about to put out there talking about your life, I'm assuming?
I did part 1. I haven't dropped it yet. We had some issues. The family was actually trying to pay me off to not release it.
Oh, yeah, no. Risa Tisa has come up in the world. Tell your story.
I've been kind of following Risa Tisa a little bit. I didn't even know about her until somebody else told me. So I've already recorded the video. We just haven't dropped it yet. Still trying to smooth out some kinks, as well as determine if it's something that, I'm even interested in, as far as like, the hush money. You know how it goes.
Right. Yeah.
Is it worth it? Let's up it first. No, I'm just playing.
Right. So
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
If you put it out there and before you delete it, where can they find it at? Are you on Twitter?
It will be on my YouTube channel, A Safe Space with Grace. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook at Grace Mercy Favor. If anyone need any mental health services, I do private, I do telehealth, as well as take insurance. I have a third-party company called Tava that does that. But if they need any, and I was working closely with LLED Mental Health. I don't know if you all are familiar with that.
Yeah.
But if they need any counseling or therapy, rather, they can reach out to me, send me a message, DM me, and we'll go from there.
All right, there you go. And you got any shout-outs you want to give?
I want to shout out my kids. Hey, Mari, Terry. I want to shout out all my kids. And I want to shout out my sister, TT, a.k.a. Miss Vampy, the one I was talking about with the whole organized crime.
Yeah.
And my nephew, his name is Trey, TC Drums on social media.
Well, there you go, man.
And y'all, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming and giving us a story.
Of course, Terrence Gangsta Williams for,
OG Giggity.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you so much.
No, mental health is definitely real, man. We definitely want to make sure that we are taking, steps out to make sure people around us are good.
Yes.
So thank you for just a little bit you gave. Again, we may have you back in the future just to be able to evaluate some people, but we got to say it, man. We got you on the couch, man. Grace, you are a real life street star.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank y'all.
Shout out Reallyfe Street Starz, nigga. Move it. Hey.